speaking of that Devers stat, tying David Ortiz.
Yep.
Eventually, he'll break Jose Batista's record of the most home runs in Yankee Stadium. Who would you say? We'll go pick by pick here.
Okay.
We'll go 1 through 3. Give me your number 3. Top 3 Yankee killers that wore a Red Sox uniform or wears a Red Sox uniform. Who's number 3 for you?
Yeah, I got to go with Mr. Red Seat, Mr. Red Sox, Ted Williams in my number 3 spot. He obviously had a lot of opportunities against these Yankees teams because he played a number of years here in Boston, but a 345 average against the Yankees. These are all stats just against the Yankees. 357 hits, 62 homers, 229 RBIs, and he had only 327 games against them. So 357 hits in
327
games.
Sounds impossible. He's never gone. The fact that he's never gone 0 against the Yankees.
Yeah.
Like he's reached base every game alone.
Every game.
And then bring in the 60-plus home runs and all those RBI.
Right.
Teddy ball game, man.
Yep.
My number 3, I went Pedro on this one.
Okay.
And you think of Pedro and you remember he's like, I guess the Yankees are my daddy. Like you just think of that infamous quote. Just tip my hat and call the Yankees my daddies.
Yeah.
22 career starts, 11-11 record. But think of like young Pedro, late 90s.
Yep.
Career 3.20 ERA. Only allowed more than 3 runs in 3 of those 22 career starts against the Yankees.
Yep.
10-plus Ks 9 times.
Yep.
He had 17 Ks in 99, 13 K in 2001, 12 K in 2001. And when he infamously said, I just tip my hat and called the Yankees my daddy in the 2004 ALCS, followed that up with 6 innings pitched, 6 Ks, 4 earned runs in Game 5, and then an inning pitched in Game 7 of the ALCS win against the Yankees. He stepped up. He is, to me, the most dominant pitcher that ever pitched in the game.
Yeah.
Just insane, his stuff, especially early Pedro, late 90s, early 2000s.
Yeah.
He would show up. He'd wear it. He's just a throwback ball player, too, where it's like, the Yankees got the best of me. That's all I can say. You know, I felt good. They got the best of me, but he'll still show up the next day. And when Sox needed him most to complete that rally back, to come back and do the unthinkable in 04, he stepped up when they needed him to. And I think it's that series alone, but then every career game, him stepping out against the Yankees.
Yeah, the inner part of me is smiling right now. Like I'm shining through just because you brought up a former Dodgers player. I love that. With that, too, I'm not going to go with a former Dodgers player, surprisingly. I'm going to go with Ortiz. I think, obviously, he could be there at 1. I think some people are probably like, what? Ortiz not at 1? But I have some, some love for the guy that I have in my first spot. But the 303 average that he had, 271 hits, 53 home runs, 171 RBIs. And he also had 225 runs scored and Sorry.
A lot of numbers.
150 runs scored, 243 games.
Yep.
Obviously, I think he had less opportunities than some of the guys that we're going to continue to list off here. So his numbers are a little skewed, but he has so many clutch hits, in those Yankees-Red Sox series. So I had to put him here at the 2 spot. Guy number 1 is special to me, so I'll let you talk about who you got at 2.
My 2 spot, maybe it's your number 1. I go Manny Ramirez in my 2 spot.
Okay.
Because I think of the biggest moments for Ortiz, and I think he's the most clutch hitter of all time, and he always did against the Yankees.
Yeah.
But and Manny Ramirez is, let's just go 203 career games alone against the Yankees. 322 hitter, 55 home run, 165 RBI.
Yep.
Postseason alone, 25 career postseason games. 277 batting average in the playoffs, 28 hits, 4 home run, 11 RBI. What he would do defensively and what it was with him and Ortiz in that same lineup.
Yep.
You had a 1-2 in that spot, just absolute would snatch the soul out of the New York Yankees. The fans would silence one of the best stadiums when old Yankee Stadium was around. One of the best, most difficult stadiums to play in. Manny and David Ortiz can silence that at any time. That's why I put Manny at my 2. If again Manny's my 2, you know who my 1 is. That's David Ortiz. But I just think of the big moments Manny Ramirez has been a part of, and also for the rings, the history, and all he's done as well. That's why I put Manny Ramirez in my 2 spot on this.
Yeah.
He's your 1, isn't he?
Yeah, and he is my 1. And I like it it because unlike these other two guys that we talked about, Ortiz, well, I talked about Ted Williams, obviously the guys that I talked about, is that he played other places. So you talked about his career stats, obviously, but I want to talk about what he did when he was wearing this jersey right here with the Red Sox. He was a 346 batting average, George, when he played with the Red Sox against the Yankees. That is insane. 346, almost 350. 156 hits, 36 home runs, 101 RBIs, 87 runs scored, and 123 games played. So he had a ton of success in just a short amount of time, and he was getting on base so much. I think the Yankees feared him the most when he was in his Red Sox jersey, and that's why I put him as the #1 all-time Yankees killer that's ever worn a Red Sox jersey.
He went from 346 with the Sox.
Yep.
Obviously goes to the Dodgers.
Yeah.
Still 322 career batting average against the Yankees alone.
Yep.
That's what makes Devers so special in what he's doing, because of he always rises to the occasion of this rivalry.
Yeah.
And when you give someone the type of contract you gave Rafael Devers, $300+ million, very long-term deal.
Yeah.
Something's important. It's obviously winning,
Yeah.
but it's showing up and playing your rivals, and he does it every time. Postseason, regular season, Rafael Devers kills the Yankees. And to the point where those fans fear him like they do. For Rafi, there's no bigger compliment he can get. He's just a mother effer to the Yankees.
Yeah.
Top of my list, you spoke about him, David Ortiz. You gave him the numbers. His first career walk-off was in 2003, 5-4 when he hit one off the monster to beat the Yankees.
Yep.
But then obviously you go to 2004 ALCS, bottom 12th, 2-run home run. That's when Joe Buck famously said, "We'll see you later tonight," because it was past midnight, that game going into extras.
Yep.
Then game 5, I'm going with just 2 moments here that point out what he did against the Yankees. Solo shot made it a 4-3 deficit in the 8th.
Yep.
Then bottom 14th, the blooper that scores Johnny Damon. Again, pushing once again that ALCS to stretching for them to win it in 7. And then from that point on, you said it. In the playoffs alone, 5 home runs, 14 postseason games against the Yankees.
Yeah.
17 RBI in 14 postseason games against the Yankees.
Jesus.
333 batting average.
17 in 14 games.
333 batting average.
Dude.
David Ortiz, everyone knows, most clutch hitter of all time, was an absolute killer in this rivalry. And against the Yankees, you can't dispute his greatness. That's why, to me, he's the #1 on this list.
Yeah.
I don't hate Manny being 1 on that either.
Yeah, I think it's a coin flip for who you would take 1 or 2. Obviously, I'm gonna take the guy that has ties to my city. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But
I could put my roots aside. You can't.
you know, the 303 versus the 346 is really what pushed me to it. 346, George. That's insane. That's Ohtani numbers. You know what I mean?
No, now we're comparing Manny Ramirez to Shohei Ohtani.
Yeah,
What was
it is.
Manny would like at Dodger Stadium?
Dude, it was insane. Like the juice that he had around the city, bro. He was so special. I remember when we signed him, like we didn't think that we were gonna have him for, long at all. So we were just all in on it. Like we gotta appreciate greatness while we have the opportunity. We obviously saw what he did here in Boston, and we were like, great. Like we gotta we gotta cherish him even more. Because I know the Boston fans, they loved him. So, we were like, hey, yeah, we got to show him even more love. So anytime his walk-up song came on, you would see little kids running from, like, the concessions to go watch the game. Like, everybody was at
so
attention
important to
when
baseball.
he was up to bat. So
That's what's so essential is the players that you stop whatever you're doing and watch when they're at bat. You lock in. That's what a guy like Manny Ramirez is, David Ortiz.
Yep.
That's Devers. That's Duran. That's Aaron Judge. That's Juan Soto. But you need that. I think that's so cool to hear from that. I remember when Manny went to the Dodgers, like, there's no way. So there's no way that's actually happening.
Yeah.
On both fronts. But obviously he goes out, gets paid, does what he does. But how long he was with the Dodgers too. Yeah. It got to the point too where once he left LA and he was done there, I was like, damn, I was upset that ended.
Yeah.
Obviously I liked him being a Dodgers uniform more than a Red Sox uniform growing up. Look back on it now, appreciate the greatness.
Is he the best to don both jerseys? Dodgers and Red Sox? Off the top of your head. Pedro, obviously. Mookie, yeah, okay.
Yeah, I just want to bring up the Mookie word here. Mookie's book isn't done being written, but how insane he was in 2018.
Well, yeah, he's
still the best player in baseball.
Both places.
Yeah, won the World Series in both places. Yeah, it was 2020 World Series. It was 2020. It was 2020. It was you would not have Clayton Kershaw in a normal season. It's not even bringing in like the empty stadiums into this.
If the Yankees and the Knicks and the the Red Sox and the Celtics won, you would have claimed it.
It's a World Series with an asterisk, and you know what a World Series with an asterisk is? It's his World Series still, but yes, he won a World Series in both. Yeah. One was in 2020.
We need to put the asterisk on the Astros.
Mookie is still we do. Mookie is still MVP conversation now.
Yeah,
World Series in both spots. How effective Mookie is, far from done even being out of his prime. I give Mookie the best to rock both uniforms.
Already.
Manny Cole ain't bad, though. Yeah, with that book.
No,
what he did in Boston,
he
how special he is, and he's still one of the best players.
Right.
And he's still, like, last year, before they got Ohtani, was in the MVP conversation.
Yeah.
They need to move to play the middle infield. Mookie's like, all right, bet.
Yeah.
One of the best athletes to ever play in baseball.
Yeah.
And now he just so happens to have that unicorn Shohei Ohtani next to him.
You know who's coming for that? Connor Wong. Connor Wong is coming
best
for that.
athlete to ever play baseball.
For both teams.
Oh, for both teams.